Say one thing and do the opposite. But you know what? Here at VIVE Church, I've found authentic people. I've found transparent people. I've found people awakened by the reality of Jesus. And you know what? I want to give my life to Jesus again. It's not finished here. It's not finished here. I don't know if you know, but next week we have baptisms. It's Global Baptism Sunday, right? And Adalberto is getting baptized. This is how it's going in Italy. And all this to say, thank you. Thank you, VIVE Church. Thank you, VIVE Church. Thank you, teams, for being faithful. For being faithful givers. For being faithful to the vision. And for following our crazy pastors. Pastor Adam and Pastor Kira. Actually, thank you, Pastor Adam. Thank you, Pastor Kira, for believing in us. For believing in a country that's in another continent. And for being such great examples for us. Let's give it once again for our pastors. We're getting into a time of giving. And I want to call up here Pastor LB. Come on, let's get it up. Some more.
And it was cool because I felt yesterday God put another verse on my heart to speak over you, but I only got 2 sessions, so I guess that one will wait for another day. But then Pastor Ad asked me if I'd come up and lead you in an offering, and I said, that's it, God. You gave me the word. I didn't know when I was going to speak it. I thought it would be for a few years down the road, but it's for this time. It's out of Isaiah. I was up. We got done last night. I was back at the hotel. I was just praying over you, and God had this word come over me. And Isaiah 54, verses 2 and 3, it says, enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back. I want to speak that again over you. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords, strengthen your stakes, for you will spread out to the right and to the left. Your descendants will dispossess nations and settle in their desolate cities. And the width of the tent is really determined by the depth of the stakes.
So good.
And there are seasons of lengthening, say lengthen.
Lengthen.
And there's seasons of strengthening, say strengthen.
Strengthen.
You need to lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. This is a strengthening stakes event.
Yes.
This is where we take the stake and we drive it deeper into the ground. Because if you're setting up an itty bitty little tent, you only need to put a stake in the ground a couple inches deep. But if you want something to expand over the humanity of our city, how deep does that stake need to be? It needs to be deep.
So good. So good.
A stake is only put into the ground through sacrifice. You can't pray it into the ground. You can't wish it into the ground. It must be driven through the swings of sacrifice. And when we started Elevation Church, Pastor Stephen, I heard he was going to start this church. I went to him, I said, I'm coming with. He said, if you're going to do it, you'll be part of an unnamed church in an unnamed city, an unnamed part of the country. And he said, if you come along, you'll never get a paycheck, you'll never get a dime from Elevation. If you're doing it, it's for an impact, not for an income. And so my wife and I don't share this to brag on me in a certain way. I just want you to know the level of sacrifice. Because the blessings everybody sees began with sacrifices nobody sees. Nobody sees the depth of the stake. Everybody loves the tent, but it's the stake. This is the stake. And so Pastor Stephen was kind of serious when he said, you'll never make a paycheck. It's pretty serious. He made him repeat it back a couple hundred times then. And my wife and I said, we're going to be missionaries for Elevation Church. So what we did is we started out on the path being a part of Elevation Church, raising our own support. And so for the first year of the ministry, we were missionaries and we raised our own funding. And we were positioned to do that for the rest of our lives. We just didn't want giving our life to the church to be something we talked about. We wanted to be the center of our lives. And we were not going to let income stand in the way of making an impact. But I cannot expect new blessings off of old sacrifices. Sacrifice is not an event, it is a lifestyle. Will you sacrifice so that the stake could be driven in you?
Amen. So good.
And so we're going to bring an offering here in just a second. And it's an opportunity for us to invest. Some of you don't feel like you have very much. It's never about the amount. Sacrifice is never about amount. It's about what it represents. God is giving us all the opportunity to bring a sacrifice to this thing. God has not called us to equal amounts, but He has called us to equal sacrifices. And my commitment to reach these new cities is really determined by the sacrifice I bring. You might have been prepared to bring an offering tonight. You might not have. I don't know. This event obviously doesn't put itself on, and it costs something. But anything great worth doing is worth sacrificing for. But what you were invested in with this weekend, with the teaching and the word that was sown into you by your pastors, is absolutely incredible. But it isn't just about bringing an offering tonight. It's about living a sacrificial lifestyle. And so when you bring your offering in just a second, I want you to think that every time you bring an offering, it drives the stake in a little bit deeper. And as that stake goes a little bit deeper, it lets the tent curtains out a little bit farther so that somebody else can get up underneath the umbrella of God's grace. When you sow, when you sacrifice, it lengthens the cords so somebody else can get up underneath it. And if there's $100 in my hand, if I hold on to it, it is the most it will ever be. But when I sow it, it's the least it will ever be. God sees your sacrifice. And some of you that have been here from the beginning could be thinking, well, I've already done my part. It's somebody else's time. No, I cannot expect a new blessing from an old sacrifice.
Amen.
I'm so grateful that you have pastors that lead out in the area of sacrifice. But our job is to drive this stake. We've plotted the course for 5 more cities. Now it's bringing a sacrifice that's equivalent with our faith.
Amen.
Let's not just declare it with our words. Let's invest in it with our resources.
Amen. Amen.
I want to pray a blessing over you. It is a blessing of generosity. And I don't give to get back, but that's the economy of the kingdom. I give because He's worth giving to. This is good soil. Look what God has done in your life through this soil. But we gotta drive the stakes deeper. The only way we grow is by deeper stakes. Father, thank you for these men and women. Thank you for the sacrificial spirit of this house. Thank you that the thumbprint of sacrifice is placed upon this family. I thank you that new people have been brought underneath the umbrella of grace because of the sacrifices that have gone before them. But God, we cannot look to the future living on old sacrifices. Today we bring you a new sacrifice. Not just a sacrifice of our lips, but of our resources. God, some of us are staring at the little we have, feeling like we don't have anything to give. But God, you don't ask us to give something we don't have, but what we have, we make available to you. And I thank you that as we live a life of generosity, we will never be in lack. Your sons and daughters will never be in want. When we keep our hands open, we will always have everything we need. But God, there are people dying in the streets that need your grace. We must drive the stakes deeper so that the tent could be larger and larger and larger. And what you're building, God, is a firm foundation. What you're building is something that will be passed on for generations to come. So take these seeds right now, these seeds that are being sown into this ministry, and multiply them. Thank you for the widow's mite. Thank you for the person who's bringing you just a fraction of an offering. It might look like little in their eyes, but in your eyes, God, it is so significant. So Father, we honor you. We praise you. We thank you for this offering. In your strong and mighty name, we declare it done. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Many ways to give. You can text to give. We've got buckets.